down the bad guys.
It's a single-engine jet, but it's got so much thrust and power. You can, well, obviously you can hear it. It's drowning us out.
Well, it's got a maximum gross weight a little over 42,000 pounds, and depending on the engine in it, if it's got the new General Electric engine, it makes almost 29,000 pounds of thrust. So, you know, these airplanes are far cry from what you saw in the 7,000-pound Tudor with 2,700 or 2,800 pounds of thrust.
Absolutely.
This is an aircraft, by the way, also used by the Israeli Air Force, and has seen quite a bit of combat.
Now we're going to see one of those things. Watch here again, just sheer power. Straight up over on its back. Okay, I like that so much, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to roll right side up and do a double wheel movement. It's just like an S maneuver. Just that is sheer power going. And he's going to top out about 7,500 feet. And the amazing thing is now is he shows agility and he shows power, but he's also very much under control because he's going to bring that thing right back down here to show center and lickety-split fashion. Look how he's pointed straight down. It almost looks like he's spinning it for you folks who are used to flying light airplanes, but he's really not. This airplane's got a quadruple redundant flight control system. You pull back, it's got a side stick on it that doesn't really move. It moves about 1/8 of an inch, but it just senses. It's like a video game. You pull back and the airplane goes back, you pull it, but you can't pull it back so far so as to stall the airplane.
This is an aircraft jet, I understand, also used at the Top Gun school as well.
That's right. It's used for the adversary training. I think the Navy's got about 25 or 26 of them. And I saw one actually one time with a Marine Corps paint job, but there was something in the news about the Navy having had an airplane stolen when that was. So I don't think it's really part of the Marine Corps.
We just saw it with its wheels down. I think they call that dirty?
Dirty. That's right. We've got the wheels down as opposed to that sleek aerodynamic shape. We've seen the high speed. This is an airplane that can go, you know, like 1.7 times the speed of sound. But also these new airplanes with tremendous flight control systems. They get a lot of lift off the body as well as off the wings. Very maneuverable even at slow speeds. He's going to slow down to about 140 miles an hour here and show you that the airplane is still very safe and very controllable.
Now, Ed, tell me a little bit about the gold canopy.
I have to shoot you.
Oh, no.
Actually, part of the total thing in terms of defeating enemy missiles is reducing the IR signature, the heat signature off the airplane. And the gold canopy is actually one of the treatments that's done to airplanes to minimize reflected heat, reflected enemy IR. Get a good shot there of the, normally we see vapor coming off the wingtips. And this airplane, we got a good shot there coming off the shoulder. About 1/3 of the lift of this airplane actually comes off the fuselage and not the relatively short, stubby wings. It's only 32 feet and change from wingtip to wingtip.
Well, you got a good shot of the burning afterburner, the flaming afterburner as it took off.
The General Electric, this airplane uses both General Electric and Pratt & Whitney engines, depending on which one you have.
In a combat situation, and what is the advantage of being able to fly as slow while being as maneuverable as this plane is at that speed?
Every once in a while, we put fancy missiles on airplanes. You know, when the Wright brothers first flew their airplane, they had a world, everything was out in front of them. Then we went through a stage where we put everything heads down. We put radar intercept officers in the backseat. We had radars, even took guns off airplanes for a while because we're going to shoot them with missiles, BVR, beyond visual range. Well, we come to find out, folks, that ultimately it's the guy who gets behind the other guy that eventually brings such simple things as guns to bear or a heat-seeking missile to bear that really has the advantage. If you can fly fast and you can fly slow, you can take advantage of whatever the other guy's weakness is. If he's overshooting you, you can slow down in a hurry.
Even with all the technology, though, it still comes down to the pilot.
Still comes down to the pilot. We saw the MiG-17 earlier on, which was the successor to the MiG-15. In Korea, technically, the MiG-15 was a better airplane. If you just put it on a piece of paper, throw it through a computer, it's a better airplane than the F-86. We shot down 15-1.
Our pilots.
Our pilots. Training. Now, we had a lot of guys who were trained and had experience in the Second World War, but they were able to translate that. In the Desert Storm thing, we shot down 34 of them. They didn't shoot down any of us.
Training and the flexibility that we built into our training as well, is that right?
That's exactly right. And so you take an airplane like the MiG-29, which I've flown, I mean, that's a very capable airplane. Well, why didn't it shoot down any F-14s or F-18s or or anything else? again, perhaps it may just be that different attitude, that different training, the thing you get in Top Gun, the thing you get in Red Flag that makes you a little bit better.
More structure, for example, that the former Soviet pilots had, as opposed to American pilots who also had that structure, but also had the ability to break away from it and do things that might not be in the book. Huh?
Yeah, and one of the things we're finding is the Russian pilots sometimes had a little more freedom than they thought, as we see aileron roll and pitch up to land out of the F-16 there. But there was something, they were intimidated to go ahead and use the full capability of the airplane. They had a very capable airplane, but again, as you say, the environment in which they operated didn't allow them to exploit it.
You don't want to use the term the cowboy kind of attitude, but in a sense that was what they get out there and are able to ride that Bronco.
Fighter pilots are not cowboys, but
yes.
the more aggressive guy usually wins.
Okay, all right. Well, stick around. We have got lots more coming up, including the Blue Angels, which is just a spectacular team to watch. Stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be right back with the 31st Annual Point Mugu Air Show.
The biplanes and things like that, and then you'll also see some old planes as well, Trace, huh?
Well, you know, to get an idea of just how far we've come in aviation from the very beginning to where we are today, we're going to go back to the very beginning. The Wright B Flyer is a replica of the original Army production plane. And, of course, the Wright brothers, based from Dayton, Ohio, produced this plane back in 1908. And while in Dayton, I got a chance to fly in it. Now, you gotta know, you're out there on the open, you're sitting on the wing. Let's go ahead and take a look. You jump on the wing and hold on to Orville and Wilbur's dream. Just after the turn of the century, two young men with a bicycle shop in Dayton, Ohio, had an idea in mind and the courage to see it through. What followed? The birth of aviation. The Wright B Flyer. This is a replica of the world's first military production airplane. There's not much to it, but it does fly. The pilot assured me of this.
It's really exciting because you're sitting out in the front and there's nothing to block the wind. You have to keep your mouth closed because of the bugs.
Speed isn't its strong point. It's slow, it's sluggish. Top speed, about 55. Stall speed, about 45. Not much leeway there.
It's very easy to fly, really, because you push your throttle all the way in and you hold on until you get ready to land. When you get ready to land, you just pull it back a little bit, so you don't have to worry about power settings very much.
What's amazing is that it does fly. It may be a simple machine, but look where it has brought us. Well, we have seen out here at the Point Mugu Air Show just how far it has brought us from that open wing airplane to, well, to the best of the best, the fastest and the most powerful jets, and some very unusual looking jets. You're looking at right now the Berkut.
Yeah, Tracy, as your airplane, the 1908 Wright B Flyer, had the canards in the front, we've gone back to the future, so to say. In the air now is an airplane that you can buy as a kit for about $20,000, and 2,000 hours of man power or person power later, you can have the Berkut with the canards in the front for your very own personal airplane. A nice 4-point roll there.
Very unusual looking plane.
Very unusual, but very comfortable. Much like the F-16, seats tilted back 30 degrees, side stick controller. It's the poor man's F-16.
It looks like a glider.
It looks like a glider, and it's got a tremendous glide ratio, too. And it's a good cross-country airplane. It's got the shoulders. I talked about the lift coming off the fuselage and the shoulders of the F-8 of the F-16. This airplane's got its gas and storage compartment right there in the shoulder beside the cockpit.
Man, by the way, at the controls of the Berkut this afternoon is Rick Fessenden, who has flown F-4 Phantoms and F-14 Tomcats and F-18 Hornets during a military career here at Point Mugu. But this afternoon, he is in the Berkut.
He's showing off a little bit today.
Oh, yeah, and this is a one-of-a-kind airplane. This is a prototype, and they're getting ready to go into production. As I say, it's a kit that you can get. And once upon a time, you alluded to his military career, he was the chief test pilot here at VX4.
Looks like the kind of a plane, Ed, you get pretty good mileage out of, huh?
Yep, you get about 9.5 gallons. Well, it burns 9.5 gallons per hour at 230 miles an hour on a cross-country trip. So you basically go from here to Kansas City nonstop.
Now you say the kit would cost about $25,000?
Yeah, 25,000.
And what would it cost you to build it, do you think?
I think I heard a number yesterday that all put together, 2,000 hours of man-person power time, or about $35,000 total investment to get the thing in the air.
Why would someone buy a plane like this?
Because it's fun.
Okay.
Look at it. Here's a guy who's flying.
That must be a man thing. I don't know.
And it's very safe. Look here now. We talk about the canards. Normally the elevator in the back gives you your pitch control. An airplane like this, the canard in the front gives it to you. But he's got the canard completely stalled. In other words, there's no lift being generated off that. He's just flying on the wing. The canard stalls. It falls forward. It's flying again. Stalls, flies forward. Very, very safe. Flying down the runway here at about, looks like about 40 miles an hour.
So it's the challenge of buying it and putting it together and saying, look what I did.
And having something that you can either go up and down the coast in or go out and do acrobatics in, act like you're a fighter pilot.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah. We got a whole lot more going on here, and this is just one of the very different things that Point Mugu Air Show is here. And when y'all come out tomorrow, this and a whole lot more to be seen live.
Well, the Wright brothers, as you said, could have envisioned this plane. Could they have envisioned the Blue Angels and the FA-18? I don't know. We're going to get a look at the Blue Angels a little bit later on. You did not want to miss it. Back with more from Point Mugu in a moment. Mugu Air Show. You are looking at part of the crowd here, about 250,000 estimated at Point Mugu for this afternoon show. And if you would like to relive part of what you have seen on the air this afternoon, you can. All the thrills and excitement of this 31st annual Point Mugu Air Show can be yours. All you have to do is call 1-800-826-9990 for your videotape. One-time exclusive offer for $19.95. Again, that number 1-800-826-9990, or you can send $19.95 plus $2.95 for shipping and handling. Again, it's a one-time offer. 1-800-826-9990. The best of the Point Mugu Air Show 1993. And there you see one of the Blue Angels, which we will see in flight a little bit later on this afternoon. It is the highlight of the afternoon and one of the most spectacular things you will ever see in the air.
And we are looking at right now what they call Fat Albert. Good old Fat Albert. He flies along with those Blues and brings along the crew and the parts and whatever else they need.
Yep, he's support. Earlier on in the show, we were able to show everybody the sights and sounds of an air show, but there's a whole lot more. We see nighttime stuff going on too. Here's take another look at air show magic and all of the in the air and on the ground and behind the scenes stuff in a tape that's called The Great Bright Blue. Watch this.
About the great bright blue. Lift your heads to the pride and glory. Feel the spirit of the great bright blue. Sing hey ho, here we go. I just can't wait to see you at the air show. Hey ho, me and you. Feel the spirit of the great bright blue. Feel the spirit of the great bright blue. Yeah, hear the music, make it jump and shout. Air show fever's what it's all about. Time to move, yes, it's time to fly. Give me room, give me lots of sky. Sing hey ho, here we go. I just can't wait to see you at the air show. Hey ho, me and you. Feel the spirit of the great bright blue. Feel the spirit of the great bright blue. Talking in the big time sun. From early morning till the day is done. From air balloons to the real Top Gun. just can't wait to see you at the air show. Hey ho, me and you. Feel the spirit of the great bright blue. Feel the spirit of the great bright blue.
There's a good shot of the host here today, so to say, Admiral Bill Newman. We'd like to thank him. I'm sure he's not paying attention, but maybe he'll buy one of those videotapes and get a little thanks to him and all the wonderful people here at Point Mugu who have made this spectacular event happen.
And just ahead, coming up, the Blue Angels are going to take to the sky. And coming up even before that, we have a special guest who's going to be joining us here on stage, the only female pilot up in the air at this air show. And we're proud to have her joining us here in just a minute. So stick around, don't go away. We will be right back.
I like being between pretty blondes.
KCAL TV Channel 9 and the KCAL Kids crew invite everyone to enter the Name the Mighty Mascot contest. Our Mighty Ducks mascot is searching all over Southern California for a name. Send in your suggestion to us at this address today. 9 finalists will win tickets to the Ducks game on November 7th, when we'll announce the grand prize winner, who own the Ducks VIP box for 10 people, and that includes dinner. So enter the Name the Mighty Mascot contest today.
Subway's steak and cheese sub is not only delicious, it's easy to eat anywhere. To prove that fact, I'm going to eat my dinner here at the rodeo. No one's ridden rocket launcher for more than 8 seconds, so I'll have to eat fast, but you'll want to take your time to really savor tender steak and cheese on our fresh baked bread. One bite and you'll agree, Subway makes great steak!
Now when you buy one steak and cheese sub with a medium soft drink, you can get a regular 6-inch sub for just 99 cents at Subway.
One of your line can make. Blue Angels who are going to be up in just a few minutes. We are joined by world record holder Joanne Osterud, who gave another brilliant performance just a short while ago. Terrific,
fun
Joanne.
out there today.
Oh, it looked wonderful.
Great crowd.
I'm just thrilled to see a woman flying. That is just wonderful. You do a great job up in the sky. Is it tough what you do?
It's a lot of physical work. Yeah, it's an athletic event when you're up there, but it's one of those things where the rewards are equivalent to the energy and effort you put into it.
I was talking earlier about the styrofoam pad and the lambskin thing you have in there, because really it is, you're physically being thrown around that cockpit.
Oh yeah, and you're really strapped in tight, and it's if you're not strapped in, it hurts.
We were talking while you were flying, Joanne, that you have a plane that is capable of taking 10 G's positive,
I'm not,
negative.
though.
Yeah, how many do
I think
you
it was
actually
about
pull?
7 positive and 4 negative, 4.5 negative today. It varies depending on the show site, but that's about, so it's 7 times the force of gravity this way and 4 times that way.
Total concentration when you're up there, thinking about one route, one formation after another, and just constantly in control the whole time. No
You've got
relaxing.
to be. You've got to be. Some of the maneuvers, you really don't know what they're going to do. The Lumshavak and the tumbling maneuvers, they'll surprise you. Those are maneuvers that you really don't know what they're going to do. So that's why they're done a little bit higher, because I had one of them do some weird things today that, you know, oh boy, this is great fun. And then I think, oh my goodness, I got to get out of this. So then you have to recover. But for a while, you really don't know what's going to do.
So you lost to the truck? Joanne.
Well, we got tomorrow to try it again.
Joanne, how do you prepare for your performance just before you get up? I mean, do you visualize what you're going to do completely?
Yes, I go through the routine in my mind. I fly the routine in my mind. Sometimes you'll walk through it. Sometimes just if I'm sitting down at the end of the runway, I think about the way the wind's blowing, where the crowd is. And then the last thing I tell myself is, I don't care how many people or how few people there are out there, I'm going to have a great time. And I hope the people then have as much fun as I'm having, because they're a real important part of my performance.
You do this all over the country every weekend throughout the season?
Pretty much. I've flown at 26, 28 show sites this year. Just gotten to visit some great places and meet some great people.
This is a wonderful vacation venue here. You got the ocean right out here.
Oh, and I'm home, which is even better. I don't have to pack a suitcase.
Now, how do you travel? We've talked about some of the airplanes, you know, that they take the wings off the Bud Light airplane. How do you go from show site to show
I
site?
strap that airplane on and go. It's and you have to pack real light because there's not a lot of room. So I fly it everywhere it's got to go. I've been to Chicago, I've been to the Yukon, I've been to Mexico, and you just fly it where you're going.
What kind of support do you bring with you?
Me? That's it. It's great because I have all the guys from Sam's Air Service here, and they're the ones that take care of my airplane here, and I haven't had to do anything this weekend. It's just been a great vacation.
Do you have a corporate sponsor that backs you? Or?
I have several small sponsors, Grassy Meadow Sky Ranch and P&S. I got this great airplane cleaner, works on cars too. And then the special headset kit that makes the headset comfortable to wear. So I have several small ones.
Again, as the air show business grows and matures, the corporate involvement, the participation, make it better because now we're able to bring more things to more people and really show the wide variety of aviation skills.
Now, Joanne, you are also a pilot for United Airlines?
Yes, I fly for United Airlines. I'm on the 757 and the 767, and I'm just now starting to fly to Europe, and I love going to Paris. I get to go next month.
One final question before we let you go. When you're flying a United jet, you do that same kind of stuff?
Smooth and gentle the whole way.
Okay.
Joanne, it's a privilege again to watch you fly. Looking forward to seeing you many more times. And, of course, in the friendly skies as well. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Joanne.
Joanne, thank you. 31st Annual Point Mugu Air Show resumes in a moment. Blue Angels coming up.
Have been waiting for all afternoon. The Blue Angels getting ready to take off and fly, something you don't want to miss. It's so exciting to watch them.
Oh, not that
take
much
off.
longer. It surely is. And, you know, it takes a lot to get one of those airplanes up in the air. We're going to learn more now about that with our Carl Bell. Carl?
All right, Kerry, thank you. We're down here on the runway in front of the Blue Angels, and with me is David Garner, Public Affairs Officer with the Blue Angels, traveling with them here to Point Mugu this afternoon. A beautiful day indeed. David, thanks for joining us.
I'm happy to be here.
Now, as we take a look at the jets over here to the right of my shoulder, I've seen the Blue Angels dozens of times, but I don't know what's going on out here. What's going on with the crew?
Okay, what they're doing now, they're doing open flaps, closed flaps, rudder checks, and things like that with the crew chief. Then you see the first mech and second mech, which goes out and pull the chock like they're doing now. And everything is synchronized. And they're watching off the key man, which is the gentleman down by the 3 jet, the 3 crew chief.
Okay, so that's the guy at the very front now.
No, that's the crew coordinator.
Okay, now they're all running to the front. Are we about to take off here?
No, they're going to pivot down, and they're going to go set the chocks up over on the side of the 6th jet. And from there, they're going to all line up. And the gentleman in front of them would be the crew chief coordinator, and he goes hand salute also as the jets are passing by.
Now, in all your years, you've been doing this how long? 1 year, 2 years?
3 years.
3 years. In your 3 years, be honest with me now. And I know you got a lot of pride behind you. You guys are number one.
Okay.
Has it ever happened? Has it ever not started?
No.
You've never needed a jump start?
No.
You've never needed to call AAA or some tow service?
No, not at all.
Each and every time without a fault, it starts.
That's correct.
You guys are absolutely the most beautiful, most graceful, probably, what would you call yourself, number 1 or number 2?
Number 1.
And number 2?
Number 2 also.
You're the top 3. All right, what's going on now with all the smoke? What's that?
Smoke
burning
check.
oil?
Smoke check, that's correct. Within the aircraft is smoke tank, which compared with the exhaust, which makes the white smoke.
If they don't see white smoke, what then?
It's probably a clogged up hose or something like that.
And then they fix it, and that would be the end of that.
Yeah.
Okay, now the guys are running down to the end. What's going on down there?
Those are the crew chiefs. They're going to line up also. Now you're going to see the crew coordinator, which is the gentleman that's over the maintenance guys, such as the crew chiefs and such as myself, as the enlisted rankings. And his job now is he's going to be giving the pilots the signal to start taxiing off, and with a hand salute.
Okay, now I noticed at the very end there, before they all took off, they all looked at the pilots and they gave them a thumbs up and okay or something?
Right. They're all checking each other, make sure everyone is all through with their check.
Now, traveling together with these guys 2-3 years, however long your stint is, you guys are pretty much tighter than 2 coats of paint, huh?
Say again now, sir?
I said traveling with these guys for the last 2 or 3 years, you all become pretty close together. You must be tighter than 2 coats of paint.
3.
Yeah?
3.
Yeah? Boy, you guys are awfully, awfully wonderful. I can't tell you enough about this. Of all the times that I've seen them, I hope that this works out to be one of your better shows.
So far, I don't enjoy it myself.
Great.
We got here Wednesday, and I don't want to leave.
Well, I'll tell you, the weather's great, but if you guys wait another hour, I can already see the fog bank out there to our west. It's beginning to move in.
I'm hoping it'll be a high show. From the look of the sky and the ceiling, possibly it'll be a high show.
All right, great. David, thank you very much for joining us, and good luck to you. All right, bye. That's it. We'll see you.
All right, Carl.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. I'm a fan, but I don't think there's a bigger fan than Carl Bell.
Yeah, don't try to play straight man to the Blue Angels, whatever you... and when you talk to them, there is no number 2.
No.
There's Blue Angels
No.
number 1. That's it. That's
There's no
where it
number
is.
3.
No.
That was a great answer. That was a great answer.
Well, you know, everything is so precise. Even before they take off, we're talking precision.
Well, this was the walk down they did earlier. And like you say, you know, the whole team, all the enlisted men and all the officers, professional all the way. And
we're going to watch it fly in just a moment. Stick with us. We'll be right back. I just can't wait to see him up in the air.
And as we await one of the greatest shows in the skies, we're joined by Lieutenant Rob Surgener of the Blue Angels. Lieutenant, thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here. Thanks a lot.
It should be another great show this afternoon, huh?
I hope so. The weather's perfect. You can't beat this for air show weather.
Yeah, it really is. What are we going to see this afternoon?
Hopefully you're going to see a high show. That's what we briefed, and that's what we plan on flying. That means the weather's perfect. The clouds are high, if there are any clouds, and right now there's nothing except that stuff out there to the west.
So depending on the weather, you alter what you have to do.
Right, we have 3 different shows. We have a high show, a low show, and a flat show, and it basically is determined by the ceilings, and it cuts out some of the loops and rolls, and all the way down to a flat show, which is basically just flat passes back and forth.
We get the A show today. The A show.
You get the big one.
All right.
We get some beautiful airplanes down here too, Rob. This is the McDonnell Douglas FA-18 Hornet, the airplane. They've been in the Hornet now since when?
We started in '87.
In '87.
Right.
And boy, I tell you, what a tremendous change over the A4, huh?
It's fantastic. The A4 was a real nice jet, and we got about 13 years of service out of it with the Blues, and then transitioning over to the Hornets. I mean, it's a great jet. It does everything. It's state of the art. It's the frontline fighter for the Navy, and it's the Navy's airplane of the future.
Yeah, a couple years ago, I got a chance to fly with number 5, the Marine Corps, the token Marine, Kenny Switzer. And when we went out to fly it, you know, he says, okay, let's do a flight. And we go up and down. And that's the fantastic thing about the FA-18. Its ability the power to go up and down rather than go fast this way, which it does beautifully.
It does.
The maneuverability, go up and down, and tremendous airplane.
It's got great response, great throttle response, and I mean, it just has some awesome thrust. And the solos will show you that today. The Diamond will primarily show you a lot of formation flying, let you see how we're trained to fly, and the solos are going to show you the maximum performance of the aircraft.
Dancing versus slamming it around.
And we'll get to see it coming up right after this.
Hello, darling. This is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and...
are in the air. At least 4 of them, Tracy, huh?
Absolutely. Strap yourselves in, folks. Don't leave your TV set at all. This is something you are not going to want to miss, not even 1 second of.
Non-stop, wall-to-wall, sight, sound, and feeling as the Blue Angels in the air. Rob, now we got the Diamond, and of course that's their traditional thing. As soon as they break ground, number 4, their Lieutenant Doug Thompson slides into the slot. But now we're going to see some spectacular stuff right out of the shoot-off of number 5 and 6.
Right. After the Diamond does what they call the burner loop on takeoff. As soon as they clear, they'll go smoke off, and then we'll start rolling the solos. The first one, as you said, Blue Angel number 5, is Captain Ken Switzer. And he's going to accelerate his aircraft, climb to an altitude of 50 feet, and roll at 360 degrees with the landing gear extended. That's called the dirty roll on takeoff.
Now, again, Steve, Tracy, earlier we saw the Snowbirds with their mature airplane, 170 knots. But this airplane has got a quadruplex digital flight control system in it. So Kenny Switzer is very safe, even rolling this 40,000-pound airplane right there.
As he clears, if you look back to the right, we have Blue Angel number 6, Lieutenant Commander Dave Stewart, and he's going to accelerate to 300 knots and execute a very low, precise transition, just pulling the gear up right off the runway. As he gets to the end of the runway, the gear will come up in the jet, and he'll pull back and execute a high-performance climb. He'll get about 6 Gs in this climb on the pull.
Feels like it's coming right through your living room.
Yeah, watch now here. The airplane doesn't really look like it gets off the ground at all. It just kind of sucks the wheels up underneath it. And if there was any dirt on that runway, it's gone now.
You betcha. He'll climb to about 4,000 feet. He'll roll the aircraft onto its back, 180 degrees, and then complete the maneuver with the split S and exit to the right.
The F-18 is powered by 2 General Electric F404 low bypass turbofan engines, each putting out about 16,000 pounds of thrust. And the show weight today, Rob, what?
Right at about in the low 30s, so we're looking at almost 1-to-1 here with the thrust to weight ratio.
Fly me to the moon, VFR direct in an F-18 Hornet and the Blue Angels.
Now, typically, Rob, the pilots who fly these planes, what are some of the characteristics? How many hours in the air do these guys have?
You need 1,500 hours. You need 1,500 hours before you can even apply for the team. Most of the guys now, I would say, probably have more like 2,500 hours. The boss is somewhere up around 6,000 or 7,000 hours. He's been flying back since the Wright brothers.
That was a beautiful maneuver we saw. That was a beautiful maneuver we saw a moment ago. What was that?
That was the split S, and he clears to the right, and now we'll have the diamond come in, and this is their opening maneuver besides the loop on takeoff. And they're about 36 inches from wingtip to canopy.
And they're moving how fast?
They're going about 450 knots.
Oh, my.
A little over 500 miles an hour.
Okay.
And earlier we saw the Snowbirds.
Hey,
in their performance, 36 inches, but they were doing like 250, right?
What do we got here, folks? This is not the Blue Angels. We have a 7-ship show today, Rob.
Well, we'll probably take a little break here in the show, and that's why they're clearing off behind the crowd until looks like we got somebody flying through our airspace.
He's got the best seat in the house.
This actually happened yesterday. What happens, ladies and gentlemen, is there is a box. Any air show, there is basically reserved airspace. And in the case of a show like this, it's a 5-mile radius, and these guys in the tower keep track of everything. They've got radar, so if anybody wanders into the area, gets curious about why all those airplanes are over there that shouldn't be there, you know, hold it, safety timeout, folks.
Will that person get fined or anything for doing that?
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be here.
That's right.
They could track them and give them a flight violation, which is similar to getting a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
They're getting in the way of our show.
Absolutely. But the thing about it is, it just highlights the fact that, there are people who are monitoring the safety aspect of this whole enterprise here. And to go back to it, it's like a 5-mile radius and up to 15,000 feet, which is reserved. Nothing can come in that box while the Blue Angels are flying.
So the show's on hold right now, right?
Right. We have a representative, one of our Marine C-130 pilots is up in the tower, and he's right up there with the radar people, and they let him know when something's going on. He can radio to our people at our comm cart, and they talk directly to the boss and call for the knock it off.
Yeah, Rob, you talk about the Marine guy there. We've got 6 guys who seem to be the entire focus of the show, but
there's actually 16 officers and almost 100 enlisted. And the 1 through 6 will be the first to tell you about, it's not just them. They borrow the airplanes for an hour a day, and everybody else makes it happen.
And one of the really nice things about it, you use the proper word, they borrow the airplane from the plane captain. Most of the time when you go out and fly an airplane, a military airplane, you do an exterior inspection, you walk around. These guys have got such faith and confidence, they go out and get in that airplane. They ask the plane captain, which is the crew chief in Air Force parlance, hey, is this airplane ready? He says, you got it, partner. Go.
Now, you folks all travel together from air show to air show?
We sure do. Out of the officers, out of the 16, there's 10 of us that go on the road every weekend to every show. And then 2 of the 3 C-130 pilots. So there's always at least 12 officers on the road every weekend. And then some of the guys, the public affairs officer, supply officer, and administrative officer stay back. They'll make it to a few of the shows throughout the year.
And I think the show is ready to recommence here now. And as Rob said earlier, this is one of those 36-inch maneuvers. Now we don't have that wingtip separation. It's 36 inches, 3 lousy feet, 3 great feet between the wingtip and the canopy of the airplane adjacent to it. Look at this, a beautiful photo pass in diamond.
that is a spectacular sight.
That's the basic diamond formation. That's what they'll be doing all their diamond maneuvers from for the rest of the show, just to give you an idea of how it works.
And we were talking earlier, before the looky-loo came in and slowed things down, that the snowbirds were flying at about to 250 miles an hour, right?
Right, 250, yeah. Probably closer to 300 up in there.
And these guys are at 450.
Well,
right,
these guys here now, Rob, coming head-to-head down the runway, about 350 or so?
That's right. These are our solos. The lead solo is number 5, the opposing solo number 6, and this is the knife edge pass. They'll cross in a knife edge formation right over center point.
Raise the nose up just a little bit to accommodate for the fact you're going to lose a little lift. Knife edge pass. And they merely raise the nose 45 degrees to get out of the way of anything else. I mean, it's tremendous power.
That's right.
How much training do they have to go through to be able to do this?
We go through about 3 months of winter training out in the desert down in El Centro. And we'll start in early January, go up through late March. We'll fly 2 flights a day for 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday.
That's
so
a lot of your time.
Right, we get about 120 practices before we ever do our first show.
And then it's every weekend throughout the season?
Every weekend from mid-March through mid-November.
Okay, now, Rob, we see them in their diamond position, but...
Right, this is the diamond roll now. They'll go up and roll 360 degrees over center point, maintaining that diamond formation throughout the roll.
And again, you know, we see here the beauty and the ballet of the 4-ship as opposed to what we'll see in the 2-ship, where they really just slam it around. And it's almost like you have 2 teams. You've got this ballroom team here, then you got the country and western crowd that comes in opposite
the
each other.
two-steppers.
That's exactly right. Now the solo pilots will come in for their opposing inverted to inverted roll. Once they get closer to the flight line here, they'll both roll inverted. As they cross over center point, they each roll 360 degrees.
Now, the interesting thing about this, folks, is, you know, they go a mile awfully doggone quick, and they've got to see each other. So a lot of this comes from practice, 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 right? And knowing, you know, where the other guy is supposed to be. The solos, you know, back-to-back going away from each other, 300, 400 miles an hour, they live by glare shield clocks. They time everything, right, Rob?
That's correct. That's correct. They just have your basic stopwatch mounted up on the glare shield of the airplane. They set up a timing pattern to either side of the crowd, and everything is set on the stopwatch.
Yep.
Then that exit that they just did is quite demanding. That's a negative G push out, and they'll get over 2 negative Gs on that.
Yeah. Rob, one of the interesting things when I flew with Kenny Switzer, we found out these guys have got forearms on the right side the size of Popeye because they trim the airplane 10 to 15 pounds, 12 to 15 pounds nose down.
Right, and there's actually a spring connected from the bulkhead on the aircraft to the stick. This is the diamond aileron roll. That's a little different in that all 4 pilots roll their aircraft 360 degrees simultaneously instead of maintaining the diamond formation that we saw before.
Now, why do they have this nose down?
Getting back to that, that's so they can lock their arm. They'll sit a little different than you normally would in the jet when you're flying in the fleet. They'll lower the seat so that their knees are up high. They'll lock their arm on their leg, and then they have this spring so they don't have to constantly move the stick. They can lock it out and hold it in one position. And it's basically like a spring that you would see on a screen door.
Yeah, it's much easier. If you're trying to balance a stick on the end of your hand, you're moving it in all directions. But if that stick has got a predisposition to go one way, it's a little easier. You can keep moving in the same direction, and that makes for more precise flying. As we
That's
see
where
now,
they get those big forearms. We call it their club after a while. It gets kind of sore.
Okay, and from the right?
This is a maneuver called the Fortis. Both aircraft are in the carrier landing configuration, but in a mirror image over center point.
This is one of those times when it's okay to have the hook up.
That's right.
Now, Rob, the Angels will change their routines how often?
We'll keep the same routine each year, and then usually when we get out to winter training, we'll either mix up the sequence of the maneuvers or else introduce 1 or 2 new maneuvers. Usually the diamond will introduce a new maneuver or 2, and the solos will do the same thing. Kind of keep it fresh.
But then once you've got that routine, it stays throughout the whole year.
Exactly, because it's just too hard to change. I mean, it has to be a set procedure. It's practiced every week back home and on the road.
Do you get tired of being on the road so much?
Not at all, not at all. In fact, we came here from Hawaii, And we were there for 10 days. And it almost got to be too long if you can complain about being in Hawaii. You know, it's kind of like, okay, let's go to the next show. You know, it seems like we've been here forever.
One of the times you do make major changes, of course, is when you go to a new aircraft. And going from the A4 to the FA-18 gave you the opportunity to do this next maneuver, Rob, which literally no other airplane I've ever seen try it.
Right, this is called the Diamond Dirty Loop. It's kind of goes back to what the Navy's most proud of, and that's that we can land our aircraft on the ships of aircraft carriers at sea. They'll go about 250 knots and do a complete loop with the gear and tail hooks extended.
Now, the amazing part about this is they're trying to keep that steady 250 knot airspeed all the way across the top. We're going across the top for about 4,000 feet, maybe 5,000 feet. But the handling characteristics of the airplane change with the airspeed change sometimes, but keeping it the same airspeed, now they have to slow down coming back. Don't want to go too fast and, you know, shear off the landing gear.
Exactly, so they're pulling back on the power, popping the boards out, the speed brakes, and rounding out the bottom of the loop.
That's a spectacular maneuver, Rob. How many airplanes are able to do this kind of thing?
You know, I don't know. Can the F-16 do that or not? It probably
could do it.
Is able to do it.
But you know, doing it in 4 ships is a whole lot different than doing it in 1.
That's right. It's only the most advanced aircraft in the world today that can perform a maneuver like that.
Yeah. Now, from the exact opposite of that, now we're going to have the solos come in here and show the absolutely tiny turning radius of this. Well, it'd be what? 40-some thousand pounds, so 20 tons. Going to do a little quick dance for us here, right?
Exactly. This is Captain Ken Switzer in Blue Angel 5, and this is a high performance, maximum performance, minimum radius afterburner turn. He'll get about 7.5 Gs the whole way around this turn.
Kenny used to be 6'6". He's now 5'2". Watch this. In 20 seconds, he makes a complete 360-degree turn. As Rob says, 7.5 Gs all the way around in less than a quarter mile. Now, Kerry, you were asking earlier about, you know, flying slow and fast. When it all comes down to push and shove, you got to be able to turn to get behind the guy.
Terrific work from our cameramen out there and women who are keeping a close eye on these planes, these jets, as they soar through the sky. Not an easy thing to do. They're moving fast up there.
They were doing a great job. I was down in the truck before watching the whole setup down there, and it was more amazing than watching the air show for me.
They don't miss much.
And I tell you, this is the first time this air show from Point Mugu has ever been telecast live, and KCAL, Channel 9 here, has got the only 2 live air shows ever been broadcast in this town.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we're going to see what...
This is called the double farvel, a little modification of the diamond. The flight leader and the slot pilot are both upside down while the wingmen are still maintaining the minimum separation.
Rob, farvel?
Farvel, according to Ed, it's a combination of fabulous and marvelous.
We thought it was something technical.
I was expecting something very complicated.
It is. I think it's more. I think you had to change that to the Klingon warship.
I don't know. I kind of like farvel.
I kind of stumbled with that question in Boston earlier this year, so I wasn't going to forget that.
Okay, now we're going to say again, you know, if it's one thing for Captain Switzer to turn that thing around, he's a Marine Corps 03 type guy there. It's another one for 2 airplanes to do it, and really they can't see each other right now, though.
That's right. This is the opposing minimum radius turn. They're coming around the turn, and they're trying to peel their head back and look for that other guy and pick him up and get another minimum separation cross here over center point.
And again, right at show center, belly to top of the canopy there. These guys sometimes get tennis elbow, the solos do, from just going in and out of afterburner so much. And you get a little cheat here. When they're in afterburner, they got no smoke because it's vaporizing the oil. It's Corvus oil. So you'll see them the solos go in and out quite a bit.
Rob, what does it take to be a pilot for the Angels? Are these guys the best of the Navy pilots, or are they just a special kind of pilot?
We're just the average pilot that the Navy has. We're just lucky enough to be in the right part of our career path, to be able to spend 2 years with the team and represent what the Navy's all about. Every Navy pilot learns basic maneuvers that these are all formulated from.
Is every Navy pilot, though, capable of doing this kind of thing?
Yes and no, not without the proper training, but yes, every Navy pilot, just by being a Navy pilot, has displayed that he is capable of going through the rigorous training necessary. Most of these maneuvers, the basics of it, every Navy pilot can do at higher altitude, maybe a little bit more separation, but anybody's free to apply, and because you have your Navy wings, they figure you can be trained to learn how to fly like this.
Can you serve more than one 2-year stint, or is that
No, once
it?
you're a Blue Angel, you're done. There's been people back in like the 40s or 50s who have come back, you know, for more than one tour on the team, but for the officers, it's one tour only. Some of the enlisted have come back for more.
Now watch this. You know, to all intents and purposes, we're going to go from 6 Blue Angels to something less as they the tuck-away cross.
Tuck-away cross. Always a crowd favorite.
Yeah,
You can hear the crowd cheering, oohing and eyeing.
It is really something to see that aircraft coming at you, directly toward you at that speed.
When was the
And
last time?
feel the thunder.
When was the last time you guys were here in Southern California?
We were in Point Mugu, I think, in '91, and then we've done shows in Miramar every year right outside of San Diego. Also, our El Centro show is the first show of the year.
So it's been a couple years, though, here in the LA area.
Exactly.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did not the Angels debut the F-18A FA here at Point Mugu at the air show?
At Point Mugu, it is. You may be right. You got me on that one.
Yep. Now I tell you, one of the other things here that these guys do is you know, they change positions. You know, Rob was talking about, you know, flying basic diamond formations and fingertips. It's a totally different ball game, though, when you're in the middle of a maneuver, upside down, airspeed changing, altitude changing, sun glint changing, and go from one position in the formation to another. And we'll see that here, I believe. Or are we just going to see the echelon roll? We got another little break here. Maybe we got, there we
right
go.
out front here,
Okay.
off to the left. This is the left echelon roll. It's a maneuver the books say cannot be done because it's a roll into the formation.
Yep. So in this case now, they're really kind of pivoting around number 4, and Captain Woolridge is actually doing a barrel roll, huh?
That's right. And number 4, it's Lieutenant Commander Doug Thompson. He's actually got 4 times the roll rate going over this than Boss Woolridge does in his jet.
And interesting, you know, you fly with gloves on, but these guys cut the fingertips out just to get that little extra tactile sense.
That's right.
To keep that beautifully perfect position. It ain't done, folks.
Hello.
Yeah, we were waiting for that, huh?
Is everybody there?
That's the maneuver we up here like to call the sneak up behind us and scare us maneuver.
Gotcha.
That's what we call them also. We call them the sneaks, and it's just
Oh my.
it's just a demonstration of the ability of an aircraft at high speed.
I think the crowd like that.
They're having to scrape him off the ground on that one.
Absolutely. And then he just takes that thing and corkscrews right up into the top of the air show box. So 15,000 feet in a quick elevator.
That's very sneaky. That's very, we got to get some warning on that, okay?
No.
I knew it was coming. You just weren't looking in the right spot.
I guess.
That's why I didn't turn the page.
Knock me out of my chair.
Absolutely. So it's a two-year tour. Yeah, okay, we got the whole crowd here joining up now, right?
We'll have 5 of the
five ship,
aircraft
yeah.
for the line abreast.
That's right. Now this is again one of those things, you know, where it's one thing when you got that car back on the rear bumper, on the rear fender, trying to hold a relative position, but when you pull up nose to nose and you try to get your front bumper line up to his, it just really magnifies any error in your position.
This is one of the most difficult maneuvers because now the pilots have to look 90 degrees from their flight path toward Boss's aircraft, and they'll do this under heavy G throughout a whole loop.
And again, you know, the airspeed changes. They enter about 400 knots, and so the airplane has got one set of handling characteristics. And as they pull up, going across the top at 7,000 feet, they're down to about 200 knots. Airplane's just a little more mushy, eh, Rob?
That's correct.
Perfect line abreast. And if you're not perfect, right now, everybody can see it from San Francisco to Tijuana. What a beautiful sky.
It's very difficult. They're looking over their shoulder the whole time, directly across at that other aircraft coming down the backside, making slight power corrections and slight rudder corrections to keep it with the proper separation.
And it's not like it's even all that easy for the leader because he has to up there correct for the wind
Exactly.
bring the airplane back down on the show line. So he's actually moving his airplane a little left and right as well.
Right, he's got to make sure his wings are perfectly level throughout the loop and keeping the aircraft on the flight line. They'll shift the formation, go back to what we call a diamond stinger formation, and then detach Captain Switzer and Blue Angel number 5.
And we're getting word again that we've got another intruder in the airspace, huh?
That must be somebody who wants to join the Blue Angels, get a little extra.
I don't blame him. If I saw this, I'd want to come and check it out.
Okay, there it is.
Somebody flying down the coastline, huh?
Hey, you know, free admission.
Down near the end of the runway.
Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah. It looks like he's out there by the foreship even. Either go out there and do their own ID pass on him, chase him out of the way. There's a bunch of birds out there too.
Now, do you think that was a mistake, or is someone just trying to get a close-up look here?
Oh, you get things like this. You get a pretty day on a coastline, and people. How many airplanes you got in California?
Yeah, probably too many. Obviously, too many today.
Okay,
but,
here we go. We're back on it.
This is the opposing 4-point hesitation roll. They'll roll their aircraft 360 degrees, pausing after each 90 degrees of roll, cross over center point in the inverted position.
Okay, roll nose up, and
that stops my heart every time.
yeah, just a slight pause. They're upside down. Okay, from out in front of us here now, we're going to have the foreships do one of those transitions, shall we say, Rob?
Right, they'll roll out in trail formation. They'll climb straight into the vertical, shift back into the Blue Angel Diamond, and then reaching 90 degrees nose up, all aircraft will split and exit in separate directions. It's called the Blue Angel vertical break.
That's pretty. That's nice. I like that.
You get this one guy, this Blue Angel number 4, coming right down over our head here.
Yep.
Now these guys don't get any extra. None of you get any extra pay for this duty.
No, just do it for the fun of it.
I bet. That's the extra pay.
It's hard because most of the guys are married, have little kids at home, and this is their shore duty. So they probably come from a sea tour where they were out on 6-month cruises, and this is the time they're supposed to be spending at home, and now we're on the road every weekend, and they'll probably go back to sea duty again after this. So it's a lot of time away from home. It takes a lot of understanding from the wife and the kids. The solos once again with the opposing vertical pitch, executing a maximum performance climb, a split S reversal, and converging once again to crossing center point.
And again, now they have to be controlling their altitude, their airspeed, the load that they put on the airplane in terms of the G-force, how hard they push back on it, so that they both get to the middle of the show at the same time. And guess what? They're done good. They're done good. Upcoming now, I think, is one of the more favorite things. I call it a squirrel cage. Anytime you go out there, it's kind of rat racing around.
Right, this is the tuck under brake, and this is also one of the more difficult and dynamic rolling maneuver. All 4 pilots on signal from the boss will roll their aircraft 270 degrees in ripple fashion. They'll take separation, and as they curve around in front of the crowd, they'll rejoin in a diamond formation.
Just peel off a 270-degree turn to the right, which is it's a hard roll for a pilot anyhow. The airplane's rolling better, easier to the left anyhow. And so they'll rejoin as they go out there to the far side of the airport. The F-18 Hornet, 30-some Navy and Marine squadrons. This is kind of the frontline fighter.
It sure is. It's the way the Navy's going for the future. They're already planning. Well, the Marines, in fact, have some 2-seat versions that they use for night attack. They're looking at these are F-18 A's and B's. The C's and D's are the night attack ones. They're looking at E and F versions, which are a little bit bigger wings, and something that we may see in the next 10 or 15 years.
And they'll see it first here at VX4, the evaluators, as they get a chance to look at that modification of the basic Hornet aircraft and basically test its evaluation. Airplanes go fast, airplanes go slow.
It's very important in the Navy to be able to have an aircraft that can fly slow in order to land on the aircraft carrier. You have to have great slow speed handling characteristics. This is what we're going to see. This is in the clean configuration now, and this is called the high alpha pass. High alpha referring to the attitude of the nose in relation to the flight path of the aircraft.
When's the Navy going to start building 10,000 feet aircraft carriers instead of those 1,000 feet?
I don't think it's going to happen.
So how slow are these guys going?
These guys are doing right now about 120 miles per hour, which is very slow for a jet.
Hey, the truck would beat these guys.
Now, but this airplane can do this. Now, this is a little margin of safety built in here. This airplane can do this around 80 or 85 knots.
That's correct. They could even lose an engine right now and still be able to get out of this maneuver. That's what it's like to have 32,000 pounds of thrust at your fingertips. You can just power right out of that.
I bet the folks at home can feel that vibration in their TV sets. Go ahead, put your hands on the TV. You can feel it shaking.
You don't need Dolby sound.
No, they live close to the air station. I'm sure they can feel it too.
Yep. And up and over the top now, we have the barrel roll brake.
Right, that's just a looping maneuver, changing the heading 90 degrees over the top. As they round out the backside, they'll come through. And once they get over the center point, split in 4 separate directions.
Now, of course, here at Point Mugu, we are right at the edge of the Pacific, Rob. So obviously, some of the flying is being done over water. Is it any more difficult to perform over water than on land?
It sure is. It's a lot more difficult because you don't have a depth perception. Just the basic ground references to help you judge your altitude. So in the brief, we often talk about reminding ourselves that we have over water bottoms on our loops and some of our maneuvers.
You're also talking a bit about these guys. This is their shore duty when they're supposed to be home every night, but they're not. When do they get some time off?
We get about 2 weeks at the end of the season, the end of November. The solos with the tuck over roll. We get about 2 weeks and we kind of stand down the squadron at the end of November. Take a little bit of time off, and then we're home in Pensacola in December, training the new guys, just taking the new pilots for the next season out over the water, and just doing a lot of two aircraft formations and teaching them the rolls before we actually go out to winter training in January.
The new guys. But now when you leave here, everybody go home together, or you get?
We'll split it up. We've got a long trip back where it's going to take about 2 or 3 legs to get back. So we'll, some of the guys may leave Sunday night, and some of the guys may stay and leave Monday morning.
So they just fly their jets into their driveway and park it for the 2 weeks?
Oh, we wish. They'd do it if they could.
Any California boys on the team?
We've got number 2, Lieutenant Commander Larry Packers from Walnut, California. He grew up in the LA area, went to San Diego State, so he's got a big crowd of friends and family here with us today.
Left a lot of tickets at the gate, yeah.
You bet.
Yeah, the squadron, winter's out here, doesn't it?
Sure does, in El Centro. We spend about 2.5 to 3 months there.
They're forming up now. We're going to see something a little different with all 6 airplanes together.
Right. We saw the diamond formation and the solos, and now we'll see what we call the delta formation. This is the last third of the flight demonstration, and they'll start out with similar to the diamond roll that we saw at the beginning of the program. This will be the delta roll, with all 6 aircraft now rolling 360 degrees over center point. Very tough for our 2 solo pilots because they've spent the last 20 minutes yanking and banking the aircraft around, and now they got to jump right in there and be real smooth, tight formation flyers.
They're pretty tired now, having done that.
They are beat. They're working up a sweat in there.
They got an adrenaline rush going too. The runner's high, and now they're okay, slow down for a couple minutes here.
That's right. Now
and
they
act
have
like
to be smooth.
Yeah, and that they are. Beautiful roll there. And again now, the number 1, the boss, he's doing his thing, a nice slow aileron roll, but the guys in the wing there, 2 and 3, and then 5 and 6 have got a little longer corkscrew to fly.
That's right. They're out on that outpost position, a little bit of a whip around the roll for them.
Well, it's just like when you see the ice skaters at Rockefeller Center. You know, the guy in the middle is just kind of standing there holding doing his thing, and somebody outside is really huffing.
Somehow I don't think those ice skaters are pulling quite the G-force that we're seeing here.
You've never been slammed into the wall.
I noticed, Rob, before the show began, some of the members of the crew were meeting with youngsters at it, and it seemed to me that the crew seemed to be enjoying it as much as the kids.
You bet. That's one of the best things. You ask any person on the team what's the best part of coming out to the shows, and it's meeting with the kids. I mean, we all were in that position. I know when I grew up, I was watching the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds perform, and just, you know, you look and you go, wow, what it must be like to do something like that. So you look at these kids, and as I said, most of the guys have kids themselves, and it's just real rewarding to be able to, you know, see them with their bright eyes and smiling faces and just, you know, sign an autograph for them.
Well, I know my son is, you know, I'm Air Force guy, and on the wall in my son's room is a Blue Angels poster.
All right.
I tell you, all these teams, Blue Angels, the Thunderbirds, the Leapfrogs, the Golden Knights, are all fantastic ambassadors, and being in the public eye for the demonstration is really only a very small part of their total written mission, really. It's not just something that they enjoy doing. It's something that's expected of them, and they do it well. They do it with a lot of pride in their service and in their unit, as anybody would.
What they're going to do here is
this
really
is the fleur-de-lis,
gorgeous.
Right? You see this a lot on videotapes. This is going to be a challenge for your cameraman right here to keep up with all this. They all exit in 6 directions, perform rolls. The diamond will rendezvous over the top for a looping maneuver while the solos exit to the right. Very tough for the diamond because now all the wingmen are basically upside down and still rendezvousing back into the diamond formation.
Yeah, and number 4 there rather is looking right into the sunshine as to compound his rejoin problem there.
That's right. It's never easy.
Planes have been in the air now for about 40 minutes, Rob. Fully fueled. The Hornet can stay in the air how long?
Probably back at a cruise setting, you can stay airborne for about 2 hours. However, this is definitely not a cruise setting, so they're looking at probably a little over an hour to stay airborne in the type of power settings they're using today. The solos especially doing all the afterburner maneuvers burns up a lot of fuel, so they are real low on gas when they land.
One of the things here too, is the airplane's got a 500 nautical mile plus combat radius, and with 11,000 pounds of fuel, with the gas and all, and the bombs, this is no. It can go out and come back. Plus, now they always have the option of aerial refueling in flight for longer missions. The Navy uses a probe and drogue system, or a KC-130 or a KC-135 or a KC-10 when they use the Air Force assets. They just
so in other
behind.
words, they can go a long distance in 2 hours. They can stay in the air for 2 hours, but they can get somewhere.
But they don't have the privilege of moving to any other part of the airplane to stretch their legs, or having somebody serve them a drink.
That's true. We did the flight over to Hawaii, and we had 2 Air Force KC-10s take us across, and we had a 6-hour flight strapped into an ejection seat, and you're glad to get out and stretch out a little bit after that.
I bet.
To get the big group back together in the Delta.
So the next maneuver that they're rendezvousing for, coming back on a reversal turn, and this will be the Delta loop break. They'll actually get about 270 degrees of a loop out, and on the way down, while the aircraft are pointed straight down at the ground, they'll all break into 6 different directions.
Now we really get to one of those heading distance, altitude, and time maneuvers, and they're all going to get back together in the middle of the show after this maneuver, huh?
You bet. This is where you make your money.
Okay, so they're coming in, 4G pull, 4 times their body weight in each one of them. Afterburners are in now as they up. Maybe not afterburner there. It didn't sound like
no,
it.
Not yet.
Quiet. Not yet.
Pull through the vertical. Captain Wooldridge tilts his head back to pick up the flight line. Over the top of the loop, he'll float the formation to put them over center point.
Jump around 5,000 feet now. Straight down.
And he'll call for a smoke on, ready break. And they'll exit the 6 different directions of the airfield.
So that's 60-degree heading difference about between all the airplanes, not quite, but so they're going to go out, turn around, and come back.
Right, they'll accelerate to about 500 miles per hour, then climb up into a 1/2 Cuban 8 reversal turn and be headed back towards the flight line.
Now, we got a situation here now where they're coming back, as you say, 500 miles an hour. That means you're like going towards somebody else at 1,000 miles an hour.
Right, the relative closure is up about 1,000 miles an hour on this next maneuver.
You have to see each other. You know where you have to be at a specific time.
Right, each person, they have 3 different altitudes, 2 aircraft at each altitude coming at each other. One person flies the profile and one person is the designated misser.
Yeah, and they say, what's your crowd? And that's a matter of how close you are.
Exactly.
2 jobs. Number 1, miss. Number 2, make it look close, right?
That's right.
Okay, so now we've got the Blue Angels coming from all directions of the compass here.
That's right, and they'll try and have all 6 aircraft cross at once directly over top of center point.
It will be a challenge here for our videographer to get all 6 airplanes going in 6 different directions at one time.
Our director's probably going crazy.
No, he just went out for a cup of coffee. Okay. Left
There we go.
and right.
3 from the left, 3 coming from the right.
Front and back. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think that's about as close as you can come.
Right in front of Show Center, right in front of this crowd of about 250,000 out here. They're cheering every time something big like this happens. You can see them stand up and cheer. They're just loving this.
This has been a fantastic crowd. We had a lot of people out here yesterday, and we got to get out and meet a few of them. And it's been a great crowd, great area to do an air show.
Now, Rob, when they're done, they don't just walk away from it. They go back, they debrief, they critique, they look constantly to make it better.
You're right. We'll spend about an hour and a half in our debrief after the show's over. We've got some of our own personnel standing out at center point, videotaping every maneuver, and then we'll go back and play each maneuver on a tape recorder, watch it, debrief it. Our flight surgeon is actually critiquing each maneuver. He's taking a note card. They'll ask what the maneuver is. He'll say what he saw that was wrong or could be corrected for tomorrow. Then they'll watch the tape, make sure they see it on the tape, talk about it, and try and make it better tomorrow.
Can they make it much better? It looks pretty darn perfect to me.
Well, they say you're always trying for a perfect show, but you never have one. There's always something you can do a little bit better.
Well, the crowd loves it low and loud, and we've had a few of those this afternoon. They've enjoyed it.
They've going to get all 6 airplanes together again and come on back in here for a really nifty photo pass.
That's right. We call this the pitch-up break. They'll be in the six-plane Delta formation. You got me talking like the Air Force saying 6
You're doing
ship
good.
now.
I like that. Yeah, I like it.
Ships don't fly in the Navy.
I give you my wings there. You're doing all right, partner.
They'll do the Delta pass and passing center point. Each aircraft will individually brake up and into a hard right-hand turn to set up for landing.
Now, normally when you're going for the carrier, you're trying to land on something that's what, about 300 or 400 foot area, the aft end of a boat
That's right. We've got the 4 cables stretched out there and about 300 to 400 feet of space, about 700 feet overall for the landing area. We use the brake to recover aircraft at the ship. It allows us to come in the least amount of time and least amount of airspace.
That was a beautiful shot, Tracy. I saw you try to reach out there and grab one of those.
That's right. That's right. You know, that number 3 wore contacts. I saw him as he went by.
Did he?
That close.
Was he adjusting one of them?
Yeah, he was. He was.
Yes, but they were blue tinted too.
That's
so
right.
They were absolutely perfect, and we'll get a chance here to introduce and tell you just a little bit about each of these guys here. I know Rob doesn't like to really give away any family secrets. Rob, what's your nickname?
Surge.
Surge. Okay. So we got the rest of them.
You want
here.
them all, don't you?
We're going to get them all, and if you don't tell the truth, I'm going to talk on you. The leader here, Navy Captain Greg Woolridge, 4,700 hours, Desert Storm veteran, and what, 700 and some odd traps. What do you call him?
He's boss, Captain Greg Woolridge from Springfield, Illinois. His real call sign in the fleet was Rug Dance.
Rug Dance. Ooh, can't wait to get back. And 145 knots, number 2, Lieutenant Commander Larry Packer, who's a right wing, 2,500 hours, 295 traps, and what do you call him?
His call sign is Fudge.
Yeah, and you won't tell us why, will you?
No, I don't want to get into that one.
He's not pudgy. I mean, Lieutenant Scott Anderson, the left wing guy, 2,600 hours of flying time and 285 traps.
Right, Scott's from Waltham, Massachusetts. His call sign Snooze.
Snooze.
Traps, Ed?
Traps, that's landing on an aircraft carrier.
Of course, I knew that.
And the slot man, Lieutenant Doug Thompson, 3,000 hours, 320-some traps.
Right, and he's actually a lieutenant commander now, by the way. So we got to promote him here.
Yeah, I got to promote him here. I better make a note.
His call sign's Dino.
Yeah. Is he Italian? Not.
Nope.
Okay, now we got my Marine Corps buddy, Captain Kenny Switzer. Top Gun graduate with 2,700 hours.
That's right. He was also at Fallon, NAS Fallon for Strike U instructor there. Captain Ken Switzer from Bozeman, Montana.
And they call him Thumper.
Thumper.
Okay, what about Hoops? Who's he?
Hoops, Lieutenant Commander Dave Stewart from Parshall, North Dakota.
3,300 flying hours, also a Top Gun graduate, nearly 300 times on the back of an aircraft carrier.
So they're all on the ground now, all safe and sound?
That's right. Still a little bit more to it. They'll form up for the taxi back. One of the things you're always taught in flight school is that the flight's not over until you're out of the airplane.
All right.
And there's still a lot to go as far as taxiing back, getting unstrapped, getting into their parking spaces, and parking the jets.
Well, we're going to take a look at the right after this. But first, Rob, I want to say thank you for joining us here today. For the folks at home, don't go away. We'll be right back with more.
Thanks a lot.